Hey guys, this is Juno and welcome back to another Hall of Heroes recommendation video. It's already week 5. I actually don't know how many weeks there are. Looks like there's week 24, so we still have 4 times of what we've already passed. I'm not too excited for the upcoming options because the LDs are disappointing. Wait, that might be a good thing. LDs being disappointing and not used means that they could be a buff. However, I do believe that the light period did get a buff recently. I'm gonna check out the skills right now just to make sure I'm correct because I might be spitting out nonsense like I do a lot. Skill 3, attacks the enemy 5 times to inflict big damage and creates a shield. Skill 2, inflicts damage with a sharp attack and recovers your HP by 50%. Yeah, it sucks. I do believe that the 2 LD options have a chance for a buff. Again, I can't specify when it will get it because I'm not a developer. Knowing that nobody uses them, there is a chance, okay? Before we continue on, let's see which ones are fusible or at least has a counterpart that is fusible. For the Jack-o'-lantern, there's nothing. Anubis, there's nothing. Horus, okay, there is the water Horus. So if you're looking for skill ups for either the Amduat, the Wedget, or the fire one, which you shouldn't, or the water one, there's no reason for you to pick out the wind Horus. Now, I do think wind Horus died out a little, but we'll talk about that when I get to it. Anything else? The period. No period looks like. And finally the Rakshasa, no Rakshasa. So the only thing that is fusible is the water Horus, meaning that if you want any of the counterparts to skill up, these all could be an option other than the Horus. Let's start for the Jack-o'-lantern. The fire Jack-o'-lantern, sadly, nobody used. Correct me if I'm wrong, because nobody is a big word. I'm assuming that most of the population in this game, 99% does not use the fire Jack-o'-lantern, and if you're within that 1% or even maybe 0.1% that uses it, let me know. And also in the comment, tell me how you're using it because who knows, maybe it is a clear counter to something. But let's talk about the other components, the other counterparts. Now, we all know that chilling is awesome, right? His passive allows him to be faster with the amount of buffs he has on himself. Just by that, a lot of guilds, although it kind of died down, I have seen a good amount of guilds putting up chilling in their defenses in the Nat 4 towers. Very hard to outspeed due to the passive. I heard that it is like 19 to 20 speed per buff. So that is very, very hard to outspeed. Even on a fast violent set, right? Because if you have a fast violent wolf set, not really recommended or preferable because you want a destroy set somewhere. But let's say you don't put it on your Jack-o'-lantern. So it's violent will plus a shield set coming in from one of your units. That's 2 buffs. That's 40 more speed. Let's say you have a plus 180 violent set, that's still like 320 on violent. Again, if I'm spitting out nonsense, let me know. So chilling is awesome. If you want to skill up chilling, the fire Jack-o'-lantern could be the option. Also the wind one, windy. Come to us not addressing the fact that there's so many strong units for offense and they just keep nerfing defense units. Windy, the 2A, Frankenstein, the water Frankenstein being the prime examples. A lot of people are still building multiple windies. Me included, I think I have 3 built. So that's a lot of skill ups. If you want skill ups for that, this could be an option. I think Misty is also very good for siege defense. A lot of people do bring it out. It has a unique passive like its counterpart chilling. I mean, I guess they all have a pretty good passive. I don't really know the fire one though. I'm not gonna look it up because I'm not interested as nobody uses it. Misty gets faster, it can't get stunned, and it does a skill 2 defense break. Very, very good damage. Multi-hits, shines with additional damage artifacts. I love the unit. I want to build it myself. Again, it's a question that my guild needs to answer and decide on their siege defenses. Finally, the dark one, which we really don't see a use in siege or in PvE. But in RTA for people that use and run the Rauk El Sharion type of speed cleave, we've seen it there. If you are lacking skill ups for that unit, then you could pick this out as well. However, I do believe most of the family here are options for future Hall of Heroes. So I think really most people will be looking for windy Skillups. Now Anubis, wow, now I think this is a good unit to pick as well, especially if you have Juno. I do think that the water Anubis is good itself because it has a Oblivion 2. Oh no, it's a passive. Never mind. It doesn't have Oblivion, but his passive allows him to block any revives if he's the one that kills it. So again, my theory was right. He is good against Perna, but it's not an Oblivion. It's just good against revivers. And he has to be the one that kills the unit. So a little more conditions here and there, but if you're lacking units to deal with revivers, which I doubt, and I don't think the revive meta is particularly too strong, you could still pick out the water Anubis. The fire one Commune, still very popular. A lot of people have multiple of them built due to the past OP-ness a few years back in Siege. Man, I remember the time when Commune speed lead was like the only Nat 4 tower speed lead that was good, so everybody was building it and stacking it. Before the Carcano era, right? I don't recommend building multiple Communes anymore, but if you do want to skill up your Commune, because I believe they all do take a lot of skill ups, you could pick that out. The wind one, Juno, is the one with the passive where he revives, and the skill 2 that has an Oblivion branding, and a very good unit there. Now, we can't skip their LD counterparts. The light one is great healer. It was once considered OP before the other OP LD4s came out, like Kinky. It was once a very, very strong, oppressive unit with skill 1, skill 2 defense break, I believe, or is it just skill 1 and then the AoE revive. However, it did die. It is out of its prime. I rarely see it. Maybe I'll build mine and try to use it because I think a lot of people are looking forward to some unit spotlights that a lot of content creators stopped doing. So maybe I'll bring out some units that had their prime time but now are lost and see if they're still usable in today's meta. And then we have the Dark One, which is the LD5, the Debay. Once a pinnacle LD5 for Shredded Puzzle, which I believe he now has deleted his channel totally. Sad for that, but I remember that he had that, and I believe since his time, it was never good. It's still not good today. So yeah, I guess if you want skill ups, you could go for it because it is better to use the Anubises rather than Devilmons. Horus, back to it. I think the Wind Horus, the prime days has passed. Ever since the defense scaling damage dealers has kind of died out, like the Copper Bulldozer, it was very popular again back in the days. However, I think now you could just find a few defenses in G1 that you could use the Copper Bulldozer. If there's a meta defense that you guys know that we could use the Copper Bulldozer in, also let us know or let me know because I'll be very interested. I still have my horse laying around doing nothing. For any of the other counterparts, I think the fire one is just not usable. The water one's used with Katarina, Cleaves. The Wedgeat, obviously, if you have it, go for it. Or just fuse it, because you don't want to use Devilmons there. And then the Omduat, very strong in arena defense. I am using it myself, and I think it's my to-go pick these days for arena defense improvements, if the account owner has them. Because I think it does bring in some RNG aspect. He is guaranteed to take a turn unless they have a super duper fast AO that just bypasses Omduat's passive, which is pretty rare these days. Period. Now, we did get Luna as the Hall of Hero recently, right? I can't see the past ones. Dang it. Oh, we can. Oh, it was the very first one. So people who got Luna and are missing skill ups, yes, go for it. This Luna's pretty cool. Also Julie, which is still widely being used in Siege offense and also Arena, even sometimes RTA, and finally Dungeons. If you need skill ups for her, then I would go for that. And Clara, still being very, very popular in Arena defense, in Siege defense. If you need skill ups for her, I think the Light Period would be a good pick. And also keeping a copy of it on the side, just in case it does get a buff later on. Funny with Saksha, I only really enjoy using the Yen. And even that, I don't use it too much, but it is so much fun if you do bring it out in Siege and if it starts going crazy. Because it does happen, it is content worthy, it doesn't guarantee a win, but it's content worthy, especially if you make a comeback with a unit like that. Because of its unique passive, because of the oppressiveness of it once it does start proccing, even not on a violent set. It's even funnier when it is on the violent set because it procs so many times. But I think that's the only real good unit if you want to use it for Siege or PvP in any aspect. The Hua is only used for solo R5, like I use it. If you haven't watched it already, please watch the solo R5 video that I made that makes it safe with very low rune quality, and it's using the Hua. Then there is the water one that I have no clue what it does, meaning again, I think nobody uses. And also the light one that I do believe nobody uses. It probably like extends debuffs or something like that. I think it was in the range of that, or that could be the dark one. So I really think the Yen is the only good Rakshasa in the family. So if you want Skillups for her, you could go for that. If you want to have some fun time with it, not being mad at procs, because you are most likely guaranteed to proc more, but still you could lose with Yen. So if you want to have fun in that aspect, I think I'll go for her. And again, if you want to keep a dark Rakshasa on the side, hoping for a buff, that would be a good pick as well. Out of this, I'll go again with one of the LD picks, knowing that they're both, I'll say it, they both suck. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they both suck. So because they both suck, I will go with one of those, hoping for a buff, and use the rest as skill ups for whichever counterpart you want. If not, I'll probably go for the Jack-o'-lantern. I think the Jack-o'-lantern has the most use, although the pick itself is probably garbage, but the aspect of skill ups, I think it has the most use because the family itself is populated with good units. But that was my recommendation for this Hall of Heroes, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope that these picks could help early game players, especially if you're an early game player that wants to get into Siege, because I think this helps those type of players the most. Early game players lack Siege defense units, and more is that they lack skill ups. So I'm hoping they pick out the right unit to skill up the unit that they want to use in the defense and effectively get more wins if they are ruined and put in a defense correctly.